like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So this time we're doing a deep dive on media literacy.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all get it. It's important.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes it can feel kind of overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's just so much information out there.
Exactly. So what we're going to try and do in this deep dive is take all the articles, all the research you sent over,
Right.
and we'll try to boil it down to the most practical stuff.
That's right.
You know?
Right.
The things you can actually use to feel more empowered, not overwhelmed.
Exactly.
So you can really be savvy about navigating all the information out there.
That's the goal. So that you can really see the big picture and how everything connects. Yeah, connect the dots.
Yeah, totally. That's a great way to put it. Connect the dots. Okay, so let's try to unpack this a little bit. One of the articles you sent over compared media literacy to cooking.
Oh, interesting.
Which I thought was actually a brilliant analogy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, getting all of your information from one source is kind of like eating the same meal every single day.
I see that, yeah.
You know, like you might be full,
Right.
but you're probably not getting all the nutrients that you need.
You're missing out on some essential things.
Exactly. And plus, it's going to get old fast.
Totally, yeah.
You know?
Like you need variety, right?
Yeah, you need variety. You need like a balanced information diet.
Exactly.
And here's where it gets really interesting. We came across this statistic. It's actually pretty shocking. Did you know that research shows fake news actually spreads faster online than the truth?
Wow. Yeah, that is shocking.
Right.
And that's pretty scary.
It is.
I mean, you know, researchers are really trying to get to the bottom of this. And it seems like part of the reason is because fake news, false information, tends to be more sensational.
Mm-hmm.
So it really grabs our attention, right?
Yeah.
And we're more likely to share it, more likely to get excited about it.
Totally. So it's not just about like being aware that misinformation exists, but also about understanding why it spreads so fast.
Right.
And that's where media literacy really comes in. So before we dive into the how, you know, how to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to talk about the why.
Okay, the why. Well, you know, the reason why media literacy is important is it's really not just about avoiding fake news.
Right.
It's about protecting yourself and your loved ones from real-world harm. You know, imagine someone, they're relying on false medical advice that they find online.
Oh, yeah.
That could have serious consequences for their health.
Right. Like that stuff we were reading about during the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah. People trying to treat themselves with unproven remedies and things like that. It can be really dangerous.
It's so scary. And, you know, we were also reading about how misinformation can also impact mental health.
That's right.
Right? And relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And even our democracy by eroding trust and just fueling polarization.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it?
It's unsettling.
Yeah. It's a lot to think about, but, you know, with the right tools and knowledge,
Yeah.
we can really navigate this complex world a little bit better, right?
Totally.
And that's where the how comes in,
Yeah, the how.
you know? Like, how do we protect ourselves?
Right. How do we actually do it? So one of the articles you sent over breaks down media literacy into 5 key factors.
Okay.
Which I thought was really interesting, and I think it'll be helpful to just like go through them one by one.
Sounds good, yeah.
So the first one is source evaluation.
Okay, source evaluation, yeah, absolutely. So that's basically about being like a critical consumer of information.
Right.
And not just accepting anything you see at face value. Right. You know, it's like, think of it like being a detective.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. You need to investigate the source.
Oh, okay. So how do we put on our detective hats?
Well, I think one of the first things you can do is just ask some basic questions.
Okay.
Like, who wrote this article?
Okay.
Or who created this video? What are their credentials? Are they associated with any organizations that might influence their perspective?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, is there a potential bias that you should be aware of?
Yeah.
All those kinds of things.
So it's not just about like checking the author.
No.
Right. We also have to like look at where the information is being published.
Right, exactly. Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
Is it a reputable news organization with a history of like fact checking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and accuracy? Or is it a personal blog
Yeah.
where someone's just expressing their opinions? Or is it like a sponsored post that's trying to sell you something?
Right.
The context really matters. You know?
Yeah, it totally does. So checking credentials, looking for potential bias, considering the publication. Is there anything else that we should be keeping in mind when we're evaluating sources?
Well, I think one simple but really powerful tip is to look for multiple sources reporting the same information.
Okay.
So if you see the same facts presented by like several credible outlets, it's probably more likely to be accurate.
That makes sense. It's kind of like getting a second opinion from a doctor.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so we've tackled source evaluation.
Okay.
What's the next factor that we should be aware of?
So the next one's really interesting, and it's especially relevant in today's world.
Okay.
It's about understanding algorithms.
Oh, algorithms. Yeah, I think most of us, know that they exist, but I don't think we really understand how they work.
I think that's true for a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this. Imagine like a recipe that determines what you see online.
Okay.
These algorithms, which are basically like complex mathematical formulas, right?
Yeah.
They're designed to personalize your online experience.
Right.
So they're tracking what you click on, what you like, what you share, all of that.
Oh, wow.
And then they use that information to show you content that they think you'll find, engaging, that you'll want to click on.
So it's like the internet is trying to be our own personal assistant.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good way to put it.
Like curating the content that we see. Yeah.
So that sounds pretty cool, like in theory, but I can see how it can also be pretty problematic.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a downside.
Yeah.
And the downside is that it can create what's called a filter bubble.
Okay, a filter bubble. So what does that mean?
Well, basically, you might only be exposed to information that confirms, your existing beliefs. And you're less likely to encounter different perspectives,
Right.
Or information that might challenge your assumptions.
So it's like living in an echo chamber.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
You're just hearing the same things over and over again.
So how can we break out of these filter bubbles?
Well, it takes effort. It takes conscious effort.
Yeah.
But there are things you can do. So first of all, I think it's helpful to just be aware of the platforms that you're using.
Okay.
And how their algorithms might be shaping your experience.
Right.
So, be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And then you can try to actively seek out diverse viewpoints.
Okay, so how do we do that? Well, I think one thing you could do is follow people on social media who have different opinions than you.
Okay.
Maybe different political opinions. Or you can read news from outlets that have a variety of perspectives.
Right.
So you're not just getting the same thing all the time.
That's a great tip. It's like making a conscious effort to expand our information palette.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered source evaluation. We've covered understanding algorithms.
Right.
What's the next key factor in our media literacy toolkit?
Well, this next one's all about flexing your critical thinking muscles.
Okay, I love this.
Yeah.
I love a good critical thinking challenge.
Me too.
It's like solving a puzzle.
It is. It's like a game, right?
Totally.
So this is about critical analysis.
Critical analysis. All right, lay it on me.
So it's about digging deeper into the information.
Yeah.
Not just taking it at face value.
Okay.
So you want to ask yourself, can you spot any logical fallacies in the arguments that are being presented? Are there inconsistencies in the information?
Yeah.
And does the evidence support the claims that are being made?
Okay, so let's say someone says, everyone knows that this is true. That should be like a red flag, right?
Yes, a big red flag.
Like appealing to popularity, not
Exactly.
actual evidence.
Sure.
So,
That's a great example.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And another important aspect of critical analysis is distinguishing between facts and opinions.
Okay.
So facts can be verified.
Yeah.
Opinions are subjective.
Right. Okay. So if someone says, this politician is the best, that's an opinion.
That's an opinion.
But if they say, this politician has been in office for 10 years.
And that's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's something you can check.
Right.
And verify.
Okay.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
Yeah.
So, by learning to recognize these subtle differences
Yeah.
and questioning the information that's being presented to you, you can become a much more discerning consumer of media.
I love that.
Okay, so
And then I think the next thing to think about is once you've sort of critically analyzed the information is what are the ethical implications of sharing it?
Okay, so this is where we move beyond just consuming information.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we start thinking about our responsibility as digital citizens.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's taking it to the next level.
Okay.
So ethical consumption
Ethical consumption.
is about recognizing that what we share online can have real world consequences.
Oh, that's huge.
It's huge. It is.
Yeah.
So it's about pausing before you hit that share button.
Right.
And thinking about the potential impact of spreading that information.
It's so important. And I think sometimes we just forget,
Yeah.
you know, that what we do online can actually have real world consequences.
Think about the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
The spread of misinformation about the virus and the vaccines had a huge impact on public health.
Yeah, it was crazy. Right. It's really crucial to be mindful of the context and the potential impact
Right.
of what we're sharing.
Yeah.
Even if something is technically true, sharing it without the proper context
Right.
can be misleading
Yeah.
and harmful.
Totally. It's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to be thoughtful and careful about the information that we're spreading.
Absolutely right. And then finally, the last key factor of media literacy
Okay.
is adaptability.
Adaptability. Okay, what does that have to do with media literacy?
Well, the media landscape is constantly evolving.
It is.
New platforms emerge, trends change,
Right.
technology is constantly advancing.
Yeah.
So, what's considered reliable information today might be outdated tomorrow.
Wow.
So think about how quickly the ways that we consume information have changed, even in just the last few years.
Yeah, totally. It seems like there's like a new social media platform popping up every other week.
Exactly. It's like trying to hit a moving target.
Yeah.
Right. That's why adaptability is so important.
Okay.
We need to be willing to learn new things, adjust our approaches, and stay informed about the latest developments in the digital world.
Right. So we have to be flexible and just willing to adapt as the media landscape changes.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
We talked about the 5 key factors of media literacy.
Uh-huh.
Let me quickly recap them.
Go for it.
So we've got source evaluation, understanding algorithms, critical analysis, ethical consumption, and adaptability.
That's a great summary.
Thank you.
You got them all.
I tried.
And remember, these factors are interconnected. They work together
Yeah.
to make us better consumers of information.
It's like a puzzle
Yes.
where all the pieces fit together
Right.
to create a clearer picture.
Exactly. And now that we have a better understanding of these factors,
Yeah.
let's talk about how to put them into practice.
Right. It's not enough to just know this stuff. Right.
No.
We have to actually use it.
They've got to apply it.
Right. It's like learning a new language.
Uh-huh.
You can study all the grammar rules, but until you start actually speaking it, you won't become fluent.
That's a great analogy.
So let's shift gears a little bit
Oh.
and talk about some actionable steps that we can all take to actually boost our media literacy game.
Yeah, I like that.
No.
So what can we actually do?
What can we actually do, right?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to diversify your sources.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you're only getting your information from one or two places,
Right.
you're really missing out on a whole world of perspectives and insights.
Yeah, totally.
It's like trying new foods.
Right.
If you only ever eat the same few dishes, you're missing out, right?
Right.
On all these amazing flavors.
Yeah.
So it's the same with information.
Okay, I like that.
Explore different perspectives.
Uh-huh.
Read articles from different publications, listen to podcasts that have a variety of different viewpoints,
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at what you learn.
It's about expanding our information palette
Exactly.
and breaking out of those filter bubbles that we were talking about.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And, and don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's okay to disagree with something you read or hear,
Mm-hmm.
but try to understand why the other person holds that view.
Yeah.
It's
It's not about always agreeing.
Right.
It's about being open
Right.
to different perspectives and having a respectful dialogue.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point,
I think so.
Okay, so we're diversifying our sources, expanding our information palettes.
Right.
What's the next step?
So the next step is education.
Okay.
Talk to your friends, your family about media literacy.
Right.
Share articles that you find interesting, discuss current events,
Yeah.
Encourage critical thinking.
Uh-huh.
You can have a huge impact just by raising awareness and having these conversations.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like being a media literacy superhero,
I like that, yeah.
Spreading the knowledge and empowering others
Yeah.
to be savvy about information,
Right. We could all play a part.
Totally. And it's not just about these individual conversations.
Yeah, not at all.
Right. We need to advocate for media literacy education on a bigger scale.
Absolutely.
Imagine if media literacy was taught in schools and workplaces and community centers.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere, right.
Yeah.
The more people are equipped with these skills,
Uh-huh.
the better.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, why isn't it already a core part of education?
That's what I was thinking, right? Like, it seems like such a fundamental skill in today's world.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an investment in a more informed and resilient society.
Yeah, totally.
Right. The more we prioritize it, the better equipped we'll all be.
To navigate this crazy digital world.
Exactly.
All right, so we're diversifying, we're educating, we're advocating.
We are.
What's our final action step?
So this one might seem really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Pause before you share.
I think we're all guilty of hitting that share button a little too quickly sometimes.
I know I am. Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment.
Right. Especially when something triggers a really strong emotional response.
Yeah.
You know?
But taking just a few seconds to pause
Right.
and think before you share
Yeah.
can really make a difference.
It's like that old saying, think before you speak. But in this case, it's think before you share.
Exactly. So before you share anything online, take a moment to consider, like, the source, the context, the potential impact, right?
Yeah.
Is it accurate? Is it fair? Is it something that you would be comfortable standing behind if someone, like, questioned you about it?
Yeah, those are all really good questions to ask.
You know, something seems too good to be true.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Right. If it makes you really angry or really excited,
Yeah, that's a red flag.
take a breath
Take a deep breath.
and you do some fact checking
Do a little research.
before you hit that share button. Yeah.
You know? Because those strong emotions, they can be a powerful motivator for sharing,
Yeah.
but they can also cloud our judgment.
Right.
So pausing and thinking critically is super important.
So important. Okay, so there you have it.
There you have it.
4 actionable steps to become a media literacy champion.
I love it.
Diversify your sources, educate others, advocate for education, and pause before you share.
It's a great list.
You know, and these steps, they may seem small, but they can have a ripple effect.
Right.
So by incorporating them into our daily lives, you know, we're not just becoming more informed and discerning consumers of information,
That's right.
but we're also contributing to a healthier and more resilient information ecosystem.
Exactly. Yeah. You got the big picture, right?
Totally. And that's really what this is all about, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about protecting ourselves.
Well,
It's about creating a world where truth and accuracy can thrive,
that's it.
you know? So as we wrap up this deep dive on media literacy,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with a final call to action, you know?
Okay. What is it?
Go out there and be a media literacy champion.
Yes.
Share what you've learned with others.
Spread the word.
Advocate for better education.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, just be a critical and thoughtful consumer of information.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you then.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.